This is a follow-up to my previous video about nerfs that are upcoming, and this time we have a lot more information. A lot more information. I talked with Callum and Dale, both being the developers of Transformers Earth Wars, and to get more information about what's really going on. And I'm very hopeful about everything that after I found out, and of course they're okay with me sharing the entire conversation. So I'm gonna go over with what Callum said because it's much shorter. I have a lot going on with Dale, so. But first things first, yeah, the update is intended to be a cleanup, not only nerfs, and they want to actually communicate it properly with players because previously they did a lot of shadow nerfs. They would nerf things and they wouldn't say anything. When it was brought up, they would be like, "Oh no, nothing happened. We don't know nothing," and so on and so on. They want to stop that, and they want to properly communicate everything, patch notes, everything, bring no on time. Column is very, confident that they will absolutely do it, and they're really trying to do better overall and not just, to specific things, right? Uh, yeah, they're really trying to do better, and I suppose that is the summary of this conversation. Because yes, they do piss off people quite occasionally, but it's not their intention, and they try to fix it in the end. So yeah, I really appreciate some of the clarifications that we have here because Callum is more now focused on communicating with community, while Dale will be more focused on certain developments. And yeah, that's pretty much it from the column. Again, you can pause to watch to see the entire conversation. But I suppose that these would be the main takeaways that space saves are really trying to do improve. And the thing that a lot of people had the most problem, me included, is they had this, a pattern of releasing overpowered content. Then they would, wait a long time, like a year or maybe more for people to heavily invest into that content, and then they would nerf it to make space for new overpowered content, rinse and repeat. Now, my takeaway from this, that Callum is he wants to stop this, so that doesn't happen, and developers seem to be on board with this. So this vicious cycle, as I like to call it, seems to be not the idea anymore. They want to really do a good job. So I'm hopeful in regards to that. So now let's hop over to uh, the conversation with Dale. So Beach Combo is absolutely getting nerfed, but it's more about being fixed rather than nerfed because yes, he's not working as intended. He reflects way more, and I will show in a video. Okay, so first here's my smoke screen, right? So to bots he does 16k damage, maybe a bit more with Titan perks from my arc and so on, and his health is about 14,000. So let me show you what's happening in the video because I ran this test myself. So I used pipes to pop the outpost, in this case Beachcomber. As you can watch the timer, Beachcomber's ability will expire. It expired, and I'm waiting even more, giving it a lot of time to expire. A lot of time. It's definitely expired now, and now I'm going to use my Smokey to shoot him, and he barely put a dent to Beachcomber, and he lost half HP. He's not working as intended. Absolutely not. He's meant to only have 30% reflection from his G1 core. This is way more. Beachcomber is absolutely not working as intended, and they will absolutely fix him, and they need to. Because this is, again, it's not intended. He's broken. He doesn't work as intended. So yeah, it's calculated completely wrong. And he's speaking to Fabian. Fabian is a developer that has recently been returned. He was developer before, then he was moved to other projects. Now he is back. So yeah, it's off the charts. And of course, again, Daily is perfectly fine with using the conversation here. And so there won't be only nerfs, they will also be buffs. And Omega has been changed positively, and a lot more to come. Okay, so let's see. Uh, main idea is to do a lot of balancing and also fix bugs to really polish out the things. It's not just buffs and nerfs, they're improving how fire works, a more consistent disable, which is previously stun. Okay. Tooltips have been updated to make more sense, improving how acid works, work effects. Okay, I'm not sure what he means by this, but we will see. and of course, yeah, buffs and nerfs. And yeah, there's much more to this page than we think, and sure, that sounds reassuring, and it also addresses parities like Abominus and Defensor. Abominus had acid on his jump ability while Defensor had fire, so now they are, making it acid across the board. And Viper, who is a bit weaker, had acid while Stormflash had fire. They also plan to, just make it acid across the board, so that's very nice. And of course, I'm not going to stop here. There is no ATA on this update. We don't know. We have no idea. They don't know either. They are going to take their time with this, and it's for the best because they need to do a good job with this one. And yeah, they don't really know what will be the power in the end until it goes live. But if something is too weak, they will again rebuff it. It will be done over a period. It's not only one update. The initial update will again apply a lot of changes, but they will monitor it, and if first page won't get everything right, they will do another patch until everything is really balanced on top of it. So the idea is to make a lot more content usable, so there isn't just use this bot to make everything easy and others are kind of there, some being really weak. They want to make more bots good and around a similar level of power, so there isn't a huge difference. And let's see. They're not just focusing on the Prime League content. They're focusing on other things like he mentioned disables and stuns that have been rewritten. Okay, fire has been calculated to tick every 1 second. Same with acid. Okay, I believe that was the case before, unless I'm wrong. I think maybe it was half a second. I'm not sure. But okay, now it's more uniform. Sure. New war effects as well. And yeah, I asked about war effects and how it will affect matchmaking, and that's another project because people, especially new players, are very turned off by Titans and Junkion and Carbon, which is admittedly very annoying. So it's going to be, they're going to update this, but down the line, it's not going to be part of the balance update. But I'm glad that they are really considering this. And yeah, in regards to combiners, the idea is not only to use just spam ruination like it is currently, because yeah, everyone's just spams ruination and God Neptune. They do everything, and yeah, they want to, so people can use other combiners who now are not doing that good job, but they want to make them do sufficient job, right? So that when you use them, for example, in wars, they will actually be useful. So not just ruination spam over and over. Let's see. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what he means by this. When Ruin throws his ball, I think he means Omega. I think he means Omega in this regard because of the glass gas that he mentions. Okay, it hits double the targets. Okay, so I think that he talks about Omega and that his glass gas ball will hit double targets. Okay, and his 4-star ability will be bouncing. Okay, so I suppose that his force ability will also be hitting more targets. Okay, so in regards to Omega, I think this is pretty, interesting, sure. Warriors will be rebalanced as well, so it won't be just nerfs, sure. And I was really curious about, what's happening with Warriors, right? But it's too much work in progress to really know, but they're really trying to make other Warriors also decent. So for example, there are warriors like Bulkhead and Breakdown Prime, whose cost is, I believe, 4+2 on ability, and they're really unexceptional. So, based on my understanding, they will try to lower the cost of their abilities, so they get, a bit more relevance and a bit more use. Those bots are only available as 4 stars, they do not have a 5-star variant. But that's what I'm, that's my main takeaway from this, is that they are meant to, rebalance them all. And yeah, overall, the idea is not just to nerf, completely destroy things like Leo Prime, Predacode Inferno, Beachcomber, Deluge, Ruination, God Neptune, etc. The idea is to buff a lot of other content and really kind of decrease the gap between things. Because, let me see, for example. Yeah. Okay, as you can see, yeah, there is a huge gap really in power between a lot of bots. There's a significant amount that are really there. You know, there are some mid-tier bots, some bots that are in between, and then these are pretty much the most desired bots. And even then, there are significant differences between them. For example, again, Leo Prime and Pedacon Inferno, they just do stupid amount of damage, absolutely hilarious amount of damage. Um, with their bot specific core, across 10 seconds they will deal 20,000 damage. Strongest building aside from HQ has only 14,000 HP, roughly, that being the multi-defense system. With Prime League hard mode modifiers. Now it also has a bit of damage reduction from the Titan perks, but still, Leo Prime is one-shotting literally everything as is. And in majority of cases, he doesn't even need his bot-specific core, because without it, he does 17,000 damage, so it's still an overkill amount of damage. You can also increase it by 50% with bots like, where is he? Inferno and Rodimus Unicronus to increase your damage by 50%. There's also Arc and Nemesis effects, which increase the ability damage by 10% more. You can use bots like Smokescreen and Breakneck to apply Glass Gas. As you can see, we are going to reach some absolutely correct and insane numbers. So yes, Leo Prime and Pedacor Inferno do absolutely need to be tuned down, and if they make them deal around same damage as Optimal Optimus and Transmetal to Megatron, that would be actually really, really good, because they would still remain a meta bot that you can use, but they just wouldn't be so stupid, right? They would still be able to deal heavy amount of damage, even destroy certain things. You would just have to use a bit more strategy. You will have to take out the fireproof, because now you do not even have to take out fireproof for them to clean up the entire base. So yeah, I think this is one very warranted nerf. And Beach Combat Deluge, again, they are not even working properly. They reflect an insane amount that is absolutely not what is intended. They straight up don't work as intended. So yeah, this is another update, and they're also trying to bring down his HP to be around other warriors. And from my understanding, they will also adjust his hack, so it's not constantly pulsing and hacking everything all the time, but it will be a single pulse with a single hack. And they will also adjust the timing for this as well to make it a bit more reasonable. And that's all very, very, very fair, because Beach Combat currently is nearly unkillable. He does absurdly heavy amount of reflect. He can wipe out an entire squads, because if you need, and you absolutely do need to, balance out your entire squad just to prepare to deal with this one single outpost. There are the popular outposts, like Optimal, Red Alert. They're all must-haves, but none of these bots you need to really work your entire squad around to beat them. For Beach Combat Deluge you do. You need at least, 1 or 2 Nightsticks, which is Fracas for Decepticons. You need a Cosmic Rust Blaster. You need a bot with Prima. Especially, if you use a Blue Streak and Wild Rider to cut down his HP. Very overall, that's a lot of things that you need. And you also need heavy healing to keep up with his reflect. You need some squad protection as well. Your own tank especially. And ideally tank with hack immunity. You need a lot of things to deal with just one single bot. And this bot can also, with his reflect, he can wipe out a Titan. Yeah, he's a bit broken. And in regards to his nerf, I do really agree. They really need to balance him. Yeah, it's a nerf, but it's more about the balancing. And I do agree with this one, because he is absolutely correct as he is right now. Yeah, Leo Prime Pedacon Inferno. Even after nerf, again, the idea is not to gut him completely, so I mentioned them to, if they bring it around Optimus level, he would be really, really good. Still Prime League meta, just more reasonable this time around, and I'm not sure they're going to nerf any other bots. I doubt it. They haven't talked about nerfing any other bots. I know there are the combiners that they do want to nerf. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, Ruination and Neptune, they're absolutely overperforming. But as you can see from other previous videos, even against tier 1 alliances like G1 Psyops, I sometimes don't even take Ruination at all. I take Skyrain, for example, and Galvatronus, because they are really, really good. Their 4-star ability is absolutely amazing. So yeah, I'm the most disappointed that this may affect event performance because Ruination is absolutely number one for events, but they're also trying to balance other combiners to be less, bad. As we have seen, they want to bring up Omega Supreme and Overlord, who are solid for wars. They are solid at 5 stars, but others are just better, right? So I think that the first 5 star combiner should be a pretty decent. So I'm glad that they're trying to up some things, and I did mention to Dale that for combiners to consider, decreasing the cooldowns of skills because it makes them much more engaging to play. Like Ruination. Ruination is very fun to play because his skills, have lower cooldowns. You can just, cast the skills. So I think it'll be much more fun to have a bit more balanced. Just have them a bit more fun to play, and of course give them some survivability because, for example, just about all of these, they have pretty bad survivability. Victorian and Menosaur, they are wet noodles. Superior and Devastator, also wet noodles. Computron and Leo Kaiser, only solid on defense. And even then, their skill is very easy to dodge. They also have a passive that makes them invisible every couple of seconds. So there is some use to it, but overall, again, not that great. Defensor and Abominus, solid for wars because of their 4-star skill, but again, they're just solid, and it's only because of what they give to your squad, not because of what they do themselves. Optimus Maximus and Bruticus, right? They can survive quite a bit because they have the 80% damage reduction for a fair amount of time, but other than that, they're just tank basically. There's not much. So yeah, all of these combiners, based on my understanding, they are trying to up them a bit, so they are. So it's not just a Ruination nerf, but make a smaller gap between them. So yeah, I think that's a pretty hopeful update, and from what I understand, they're really trying to do a good job with it. They're not trying to just make it short, just nerf things around and just release more OP content so people just buy into it. The idea is to really polish out the game because yes, there are certain things in the game that don't work correctly. Again, disable and stun, they're a bit all over the place. They're not very clarified. Certain combiners like Victorian and Menosaur, their 4-star ability says disable, but the effect in reality is pretty much same as stun, and other normal bots say stun instead of disable. So yeah, it's more about balancing things around and cleaning up the game rather than nerfing things into oblivion. So I'm really hopeful, especially for the reason that it won't be just one update. For example, after they release the nerfs, buffs, etc., they will follow and see how is it performing. Is it going properly? If it is working as intended. Is it terrible? They will buff it. If it is still too strong, they will adjust it. So that is I'm hopeful because yeah, they're trying to do a good job and they're really trying to improve. And I have to say, that's pretty good thing, and it's very much needed for a betterment of the game. And I'm just happy that they seem to really care about improving the things around, and I want to see the game that I love to continue because it is fun and it's fun for us all. We all invested a lot of time, some of us invested a fair amount of money as well. We just want to keep it going, to see it, successful. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for this video, and I hope this clarifies a lot of things about the upcoming update, that they're not just trying to destroy our fun, but also make other things more fun and really clean up the game. Yeah, that's pretty much it, and see you in the next one.